to be annexed to South Sudan. But unfortunately, the result has not been recognized by key stakeholders. Um, yeah. And then the area experiences occasional sporadic insecurity. And the UN has deployed 3,500 international peacekeepers to stabilize and keep the peace. Then he said some of the achievements they have made, I think paying salaries regularly and also delivering services which are from locally generated incomes. I think it's an achievement if it's paying salaries monthly. I think we in the university, I don't know when we were last paid. So if he's doing this, this is fantastic. Then we go to the presentation on Greater People Area by the Chief Administrator, and he said the area is prone to intercommunal conflicts involving youth, of course, youth from People and youth from neighboring countries, neighboring communities. Also, there's the issue of child abduction and cattle raiding. Well, I was part of the Jongole Peace, Jongole and People Peace, this process which happened in this hall here. So it's really a huge, huge issue. The area is actively involved in reconciliation and peace building activities. He also mentioned the issue of development, that the area is marginalized in the development field and requires a lot of support with service delivery. So these are all the presentations of the states and also from the ministry. And then we came to the question and answer session. And then a number of issues were raised. I think one issue was the issue of child abduction. I think people felt strongly about this, that a solution has to be found on the issue of child abduction and to be found here. Then there was also the issue of resuming letters of credit, the Bank of South Sudan, and then the issue of competencies in collection of taxes, particularly personal income tax, whether the states to do it, the national government, or the revenue authority. And then what criteria is being used for the construction of roads by the national government. So these are some of the issues, just giving you the flavor, and it's not exhaustive. So let me end here. If there are issues with the what, then please I'll come. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much.
I can go.
Yeah, you can. Okay, yesterday there were questions. Somebody said Minister of Wildlife Conservation and Tourism, the National Park in Warabi State going south called the Manga, and Aguga Kayam was omitted. Hence, it had the list of the country's national parks. Umanga, that's for Minister of allow me to ask the Minister for Federal Affairs, our current constitution, and all people of South Sudan have every right to live anywhere of their choice, correctly, of their choice. Becoming federal system is the part of constitution. Will every South Sudanese national have the same privilege, bearing in mind the Kokora era? This is one question. When doing or going for federal system, does it mean people also or only the power being federalized? I don't know what he means, but you guess what you mean. If this does not mean chasing people, adequately explained,
We are trying to discuss the project.
and strongly be emphasized to avoid the confrontation. So he had three concerns. The other, governor of Central Equatoria, other plans on the way for children homes or creation centers in the city of Juba as a means to promote peace. The other question is being directed to me. صحيفة الموقف عنوان بأن مشار يقول الانتخابات 2023 لن تكون نزيهة. لماذا أريد الإيضاح لذلك أو التوضيح. Okay. Those who are directed those questions can answer. For the Minister of Federal Affairs, there was another question raised by Luis. Where he says the crisis of 2013, all of us have accepted federalism, various types of federalism. He needs various types of federalism that to be determined. Everybody have accepted federalism. That was from Luis. Questions which are raised to EPAA were captured in the recap. Yeah, there's a question to the Ministry of Finance, where they said finance sells hard currency in auction. Why should this hard currency not be given to the state governments rather than being sold in the market? And then there was question on human trafficking and trading or slavery. I think this was directed to EPA. Okay, that's it. Yes. Yes. Question to add. The mobile mic. Somebody faster than Julia.
Thank you, Your Excellency, and good morning. My question is to the three administrators of the administrative areas. The government of our government now, the RT is the revitalized government, and is the government of the parties to the agreement. The theme of this conference is the role of the states and administrative areas in the implementation of the revitalized peace agreement. Now, my question is, the three administrative areas are only one party is represented in them. Are they legitimate? Because RT Gono is a government of the parties that have signed the agreement. Do they feel that they're legitimate? Do they feel they can implement the agreement without the other parties as just one party? Thank you.
That is for the three governors. For the three chief administrators, sorry. Okay, I give chance first to the Minister of Federal Affairs. You can give him the mic. تفضل.
Thank you, Your Excellency, the First Vice President of Riek Machar Teng, Vice President Hussein Abdelbagi, my dear colleagues in the cabinet and the governors, administrators. Yesterday I left early a little bit, so I didn't get an opportunity to get the questions that were raised in reference to the presentation that I gave in the morning. Thank you, Your Excellency, for reminding me, and I got the questions, and I thought it's good to give some brief clarification in reference to the presentation which was requested about me. To start with, I wanted to start with the fact that in my presentation, I made it very clear that the root causes, the real root causes of the problem, which started historically from the Sudan and then to South Sudan, is governance. And the governance is described as a proper functioning of the states and their acceptance by the people who rule them, who are the subject to benefit from the services and the execution of powers entrusted to the leaders. And in governance, there are specific areas that we, particularly with my, as a student of military science and also political science, these two actually helped me to understand in depth what these terminologies and what governance is all about. And we're saying that we needed good governance, and good governance is a way of measuring how public institutions and they conduct public affairs in different different levels and how they manage public resources to meet the needs of its people. In other words, making the best use of the housing. And then when you go to rural areas, to our communities and all that, they have critical challenges that we know, that's where we grew up from. Some of us were born in the villages and we know how the situation is. So when we come to leadership, we wanted that to change. And that is what the people all the time ask us as leaders. They wanted to see that this lifestyle is changed so that they live the same life as we live here in the towns. In reference to the concern whether the incidences, like just a little thing, just one incident, killing of one person with his wife, that becomes a problem. Triggered the First World War. What triggered the Second World War is an incident of where President Hitler went and attacked Poland. It triggered the whole world, whether I call it World War really, and all that, but that is the trigger. We have the Arab Spring. There's this 26-year-old street vendor, Mohammed Bouzizi, who killed himself, actually burned himself. That's a trigger. It caused serious revolution in the Arab states. So there are triggers. So something can be triggered, but then the ultimate goal is that there are causes, and these causes are the one we're talking about. We have consistently a problem with the governance. And I made it very clear in my presentation that the problem is governance. And in governance, it needs to be addressed, because governance, when we're talking about governance, we're talking about respect to the rule of law. We are talking about respect to basic fundamental human rights. We're talking about participation. We're talking about inclusivity, and we're talking about transparency and accountability. Those are critical in governance. So throughout my presentation, I made it clear that, like what the first vice president made it in his opening remark, and I took that in my presentation, was that we had actually experiences of centralization, and I made it very clear what are the consequences of centralization. And of course, if you go to history, you know centralization was a colonial administrative system which was made to control and then extract resources from people without accountability to the people where these resources come from. So centralization created started to move out. They allowed a little flexibility. That's why they created a system called decentralization. So powers are delegated. But with decentralization, these powers are delegated to you. The situation of dictatorship. Because if you are a commissioner or a governor and all that, you can delegate your powers to the county commissioner. No, but then anybody can do it, because that is the system how decentralized. Is meant. And I am proud because I am born in the 70s and all that, but our forefathers, maybe even our mothers, during that time, so then they, and our ancestors, as I can recall them, they said they wanted a federal system, because the federal system is now the last system which allows freedom of the people in each, and it also gives the responsibility for each leader to account to his people, because it's actually a bottom-up governance structure whereby you are not.
They want types.
No, yeah, come to that a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But it's very important to give that that background so that everybody is on the same page. So that is basically the reason why federal system became the best option that we, when we grew up and getting into the government, we actually say this is the best system South Sudan need. South Sudan need. Now, the Minister of Federal Affairs is given this responsibility to conduct some survey, and I made in my statement very clear when I met His Excellency the President General Salva Kiir Mayardit. He told me that Minister, you have a huge responsibility that the South Sudanese have given on your head. And he told me that you visit some federal countries and learn from the experience and also learn from some of the challenges that are facing, so that these lessons that we can learn from these countries, we can bring them here and adapt a system in reference to the agreement, to the revitalized agreement. The revitalized agreement made it very clear that we wanted a federal system that is relevant to the realities. Of South Sudan. So it's not going to be a federal system that is plucked from that you just get it from Ethiopia or from Nigeria or from the US or from any other country that is federal. So we are going to learn about funding for that, so that we bring you with your delegates so that we discuss on that, so that we come up with a specific arrangement, which is a South Sudanese federal system. But then take equal and prosperous. We wanted it to be prosperous, and we wanted it to be democratic. So we're talking about a free country. There's liberty to the people. Every South Sudanese is free. So any leader must know that you are free within the law. And that's why we're talking about good governance. We're talking about the governance, because we must ensure that every action that, as a leader, all of us as leaders, we must know that you act within the law. You don't act outside the law. And don't think you are the law. And that's the problem with our people. When you're given power and then you think you are the law, you are not the law. You act because this position that you are holding is not personalized, it's not your own. It's there temporarily. I'm a minister today. You never know, these days, even every time you have to watch the TV, because you find yourself in the evening that you are removed. So you keep your bag actually at your home every time, because you never know whether you'll be a minister tomorrow and all that. And the same thing with the governors. And the rest of the people. So when you go back home, is that we are going to ensure that there is a smooth transition. It's not going to be an event like many people anticipating. It's not going to be like an event like what happened in 1983, where a decree is passed and all that. It's going to be a process, and this process is going to be within the constitution and state very clearly what it is, the powers of the state, the powers of the national government, the federal government, the powers of the counties and all that. It's very clear. And then once the constitution is promulgated and is signed into law, I don't know what is the problem with that, because sometimes I remember the first time when I was appointed a minister, I was interviewed on that. Actually, somebody asked me whether in federal system with the issue of Kokora and all that. And I mentioned that in my presentation, that sometimes people misunderstood, and it is very bad that some individuals have taken upon themselves to promote this negative association of the word Kokora with chasing people away. And I made it very clear that in my language, which is when we say Kokora, we're talking about division, we're talking about sharing. That is Kokora. And anybody, person or any Kakwa or any Mundari knows that. So, but then it was politically misused to mean chasing away people, which is not the case. And this is not federalism. Federalism does not mean chasing away people. Federalism means that you'll have your state. Every South Sudanese is free to live anywhere. If you wanted to live in Juba, you wanted to be in Malakal, you wanted to live in Wau, whether in Pibor, you are allowed, because you have your own family and all that. You can even work there, it's not a problem, but you respect the local laws that you have, because every state has, and already, as I said, every state right now has its own constitution. Every state has its own constitution. So you must respect the constitution of that state. So that is how we should understand it, but it should not be, and I will request, I'm requesting you governors and then our administrators to take that message very clear to the, you are the leaders who are directly connected to the people, and the people are always expecting from you, and if you mislead them, they'll hold you accountable. And they never underestimate the intelligence of our people. In the rural areas. Don't think that they don't know. They know that the struggle, they know our struggle right from the day one and up to this level. And they wanted to ensure that we have good, it promotes transparency, it promotes the rule of law, and you will be accountable based on those principles that the federal system will bring. And then whether you are going to be effectively doing your duties with the resources given to you in the states or in the county.
The question raised by Madam Angelina will be answered later on when the Ruang administrative area has presented, so that the three would have presented, then they will answer that question at a different time in our discussion. Now we move to Ruang. We move to Ruang. Wait.
Head of the commission, independent commission in the national level, honorable governors of the state, honorable chief administrators of the administrative area, UA representative, the diplomatic corps, our media house, the organized committee, the security organ. Good morning. Your Excellency, Vice President, allow me to extend my thanks. One, I thank God for being in this place. Have the first time for the Ruang to chair the national forum like this. That is the one. Other thing goes to the top leadership of the SPLM in the country for establishing the Ruang to be at one of the constituted administrative in the Republic of South Sudan. The third is I need also to give thanks to our fellow liberators who have been contributed in the liberating of this country, particularly the sons and daughters of Ruang administrative area. For their contribution, that is why we have been recognized by the SPLM leadership to be having the administrative area. Thank you. I have to go. The area profile in short, Ruang, Secretariat, I need you to follow me here. Okay. The profile of Ruang administrative area has some of us have been denying here, but we have to put it correctly today that Ruang administrative area has the borders with the Juba Mountain, Abia administrative area, Waraf, Bantu in the south, Jongalei in the south of the Nile, and county of Twinja in the east. Brief description of Ruang administrative area. Geopolitically, background, Ruang administrative area came into existence for the Senate to the Republican Decree Order number 07/2020, which established of 3 administrative areas of Ruang, Abia, and people. This brought the number of the constituent units in the Republic of South Sudan to 13. Ruang has historically been different administrative unit in its own. During the colonial, Ruang was at most up to 1913 was annexed to north, to south, or to Juba Mountain province. In 1913 to 1927, It was annexed also to Kurtupan province. In 1927 to 1928 was annexed to Bahar Ghazal province. In 1928 to 1931, Pangak district. In 1930 to 2015 was in Bantu or Unity State. But this subsequent 21st DPA province played a huge role in the term of how Ruang people were treated in a province or district they were at most. Based on how Ruang people were treated in Unity State, resulting in irreconcilable differences between the Ruang people and the rest of the Unity State. The creation of different administrative units has long been a demand of the people of Ruang. Haswell and Jonglei State in the south, Warab State in the southwest, Abyei in the west, and Apanal State in the east. In relation to the Republic of Sudan, Ruang administrative area is bordered to a northeast by southern Kurtupan State and southwest by western Kurtupan State. There were originally 2 counties in constituting Ruang administrative area, but Ruang administrative area is currently divided into 8 counties, namely Abiamnom, Aling, Awarpin, Jamjang, Jau, Legno, Tuoj, and Unkur. The National Bureau of Statistics projected population 2014 puts the population of Ruang had over 200,046 people. Ruang is also hosted to a total of 123,204 refugees, 3 camps, namely Yida, Ajuangtok, and Pamir, mainly from the Sudan. 123,000 and Ethiopian 204, which are the part of the refugees in the area. Ruang has also been hosting a number of IDP since 2013, but the recent flood in Unity and Jonglei states has made the number of IDPs raised to 2.9978 families, both in Biamnam and Fariang, mainly from Unity State, and the number of IDPs from Jonglei State is yet to be known, but they are in Unkur County. The resources of Ruang administrative area, relatively education population, very large, 180 of GPOP production is from Ruang, Gold, Unkur, and Pakwem, Poros, Maram, or Grables. vegetable production that should be seen through the photos later through projector. Wildlife, water, river, bahar gaza, pandanwel, manga. Vision, promoting peaceful coexistence between the people of Ruang administrative area and its neighbors, South Sudanese nationalities, and all people living in Ruang administrative area. Fostering a spirit of allies through agriculture and respect for human rights. Creating a conducive environment for education for all children, especially for the girl education. Mission aspires for a peaceful and economic self-reliance to provide a safe and healthy environment by use of proper technology in oil production. Core value, to promote a diversity through the appreciation of different cultures and value systems. To observe, promote, and protect the human rights. To promote a democracy, rule of law, and good governance through political participation of all residents of Ruang administrative area. Security among the people of Ruang administrative area, its neighbors. Our security is caused by our neighbors. Because our neighbors in Unity State are the ones that are deserving us, and the nomadic Arab in the north, which are coming during the dry season. And it was happened before yesterday that the cattle raiders came from Unity State and they took more than 1,000 head of cattle and were recovered yesterday afternoon. And that is spirit we need to assure my colleague, the deputy governor, to talk with the people. The insecurity which is caused by to the Ruang, is caused by the people of Unity State. And we have a spirit of our brothers. Even if now you go to area, Ruang administrative area, you may find the Nuer residents are there. But when you go deeply in the village, in the Unity State, you will not get the Dinka. And this is sincerely speaking. And we need to have that one if we want to have this country peacefully. Because all of us, we have right to be in South Sudan. It is not the first time for I and the rest of the people who are here have been here in South Sudan. We have been there since. With the same population, with the same cultures, with all these things. And nobody was even attempt to grabbing the land of somebody or taking the somebody property. Why not us today, the intellectual people, why we don't convene our people to believe the people, the peaceful coexistence? Why? Healthcare, to ensure that every man, woman, and child has access to basic medical services. Education, to ensure that every child, irrespective of gender, has access to at least a basic education. Agriculture, promoting agricultural production to ensure a food security and self-reliance. Key priorities. Road to open Ruang administrative area to all its neighbors for trade, investment, and ease of mobility. Electricity, to ensure that all the residents of Ruang administrative area have access to electricity. Communication, provide the internet connection and salability of oil resources, ensure that all the resources are put to good use for the welfare of the people of Ruweng. The achievement: security improvement, retaining and resettlement of the people who were displaced during the conflict, started a relationship between the Ruweng administrative government, local communities, and neighbors. Improved agricultural production, free movement of goods and people between people of Ruweng administrative area and Sudan. Improve the health care services. Support the flood affected people in neighboring states. That is a photo. One ship visited Legno during the flood rain season. He used to move from Pariang to Legno using footing. This also is when we visit a flood IDPs from UT State. You will show the pictures later. Ruweng administrative area supply more than 300 beds to UNT IDPs victims. We come to the challenges. Despite the improvement, security remains a key challenge, especially cattle raiding. Floods, the recent raid in water level has led to a flood leading to a displacement of people, especially had a southern part of Ruweng administrative area. It has also reduced a crop yields in some part of Ruweng. Occupation of some part of the Ruweng Unku by the opposition forces and the allies. And I want also to talk about this concern about the Unku. And I think those of Jemek and those of citizens that are here. And Igad. This Unku had been occupied by the opposition forces. I have to ask those of Jemek and citizens, Unku is still occupied by the unknown forces, which we don't know now. In the previous time, they called themselves the IO forces. And now they are which forces now? Also, we have existence of Kidwang group. We were the part of IO, and they don't want to be integrated in the cantonment area. And Ruweng is not the one of the cantonment area. And those groups, I hope our Minister of Presidential Affairs have to include that one when he was explaining, because it's a part of the presidential initiative piece. They met with the advisor for security affairs in Khartoum. So this is a concern, and we used to report to the Jemek and those of citizens to see these people. Where are they from? Even now, the commissioner of Unku is living in Pariang. He's not going to that place because he has been forbidden by them. And I thank the honorable, and we have a work to do together. We want those people to be clear to you and to us too. Are they from your side or are they from the other side of the rebel? So that we have to take the position. Now they come without permission. And we need to protect them also. Because when somebody comes in your area, you need to take care for his or her security. So it is good that your team has taken initiative to us and the elders of Pangak, because they know these are our neighbors sin. The God created the world. And they know their right and we know their right. Lack of the resources to provide the basic necessity such as education, health care, security, and food, among others. Encroachment of ruling administrative area territory by the Sudanese armed forces in the oil and gold rich areas in the northern and eastern part of Ruweng. And also, it was like the case that had been represented yesterday by Honorable Louis Lobong North, which had been reporting with the two states in the northern Sudan or in the Sudan, but they used to push ahead every time. And during the CPA, our forces of FPLA were in Karsana. But come to 2008, the decision was taken by the leadership of the country and they were withdrawn back to the area where they are today. The same thing, those people are not stopping, they are still coming ahead. And it's good that Honorable Michael Makwe is here and he's the one that is responsible for that. And also they put the area of Ijili to be the claim area. It's supposed to be a dispute area. Supposed to be a dispute area. And we also need you also, when you are forming the bordering committee, you're supposed to involve the native of that area so that you have to get more information. Because when people are selected here in the area, for instance, if I selected to take the border of Eastern Equatoria, and I will not consult the native of that area, how can I equip myself? I have to contact the area, and we read the history of all of us. It is up to the Lopit to show this is their place and this is not their place. Destruction of wildlife by the Arab nomads or patrollees from the Sudan. They come also and they kill our wild animals like elephants and the rest of the wildlife. Cattle diseases. This has been made worse by the floods as well as the interactions of unhealthy Messiria cattle, lack of mobility to ensure the adequate security, lack of adequate drinking water across the route to the teachers. Mass crop invested by Quiles has also reduced the crop. Promoting a public financial management and reform strategy promotes peace through the sport activities. dialogue within and between the state administrative area. Way forward, better cooperation with the neighbors, adequate communication system to easier communication, establishing a strong judicial system to handle legal matters, including cattle raiders. Cattle raiders is the one of the most causing insecurity in our area, and now we have 8 members of the cattle raiders, which have been cut since 2008, and they added the cassette of Ruweng administrative area. And we start to negotiate with our counterpart in Bantu or in Unity to interfere, because not only that one, the thing it rotates itself, and even now we have some other people who have been involved, and they know the people who took the cattle, and they don't bring them to the pace or to the court, and they're supposed to do that, so that relationship must build in that way. So those people now, we are trying to discuss in the level of the government. We put the case, instead of putting the word, and those people are in safe. Provision of adequate health and educational facilities. Your Excellency, First Vice President, allow me to give some recommendation, because I will not get time again, and give 2 or 3 minutes.
1 minute.
Okay, thank you. For that 1 minute, I have to squeeze my speech. One administrative area, because they are part which are helping our side of Vietnam, and they always be with them. That is a very great thing. And also, we thank our northern part. Also, we have some, which is not an official relationship, but also we do listen ourselves. The only thing I want to say is, we need to recognize ourselves. I was really sorry when my counterpart represent here, and he did not mention about the existence of the IDPs in Ruweng administrative area, and you will know it through that and out. Is the fact. And also, I lead the team also to visit the people in Bantu to see the situation, and was not mentioned. It means the same thing that now the people are coming using their own relation, but the government up to now, they did not declare the official information that we have to receive their people. And we are the neighbors, we are brothers. We have also even what is called a family relation. Most of those are Bantu also of Ruweng administrative area. I representing the chief, because the chief is there preparing the place for the IDPs. He remained there to prepare the place of the IDPs, which are coming from Bantu, and the rest are now in Vietnam. So thank you.
Thank you. Human resource development.
Your Excellency, the first Vice President, President Hussein Abdul Bagi, all the national ministers, advisors, our governors of the 10 states, and the 3 administrative areas, all ministers present, our partners supporting the government, all protocol is respected. I know very well that a lot of our delegates would like to get some, to inform you about public service. It is a scientific ministry. It deals with science like any other science. It has its formulas. It has the regulations. If you bypass the regulation, then you miss the formula. So it is a scientific ministry. But because of the corrupt system that we had embraced in the civil service, we have our technocrats among us, starting from the undersecretary who had been here with you all these days, and other directors, and the managing directors. They are around and they will be ready to answer some of the questions that may arise in your midst. This presentation may answer some of your questions that you had been raising in the past 3 days. And if they don't answer your questions, we are ready to give you an answer when that question arises. All, but in summary, and some of the documents may be with you, and we have one document here, the Civil Service Act. We need to go through it, to know it, read it, understand it. It will help us all, the leaders of this country. We have here a short presentation. It may be long, but I know. Each institution has its own mandate. Ministry of Public Service has its own mandate. The ministry is supposed to build and manage the capacity of civil servants in the whole country to deliver if that does its work without fear, without favor. So we don't favor anybody. But of course, among hundreds of staffs, an individual can have favor for a minister who do favors to others. But if we know that is a criminal case, we have our mission. We would like to provide policy guidance. We guide all the institutions in the country to abide by the rules. We have our core values. The ministry's core values were chosen to represent what the ministry stands for, what drives it, what it believes in it. These are the core values. Teamwork. We work as a team in the ministry. We are very responsive. When you bring your question, we have to answer. We are focusing on reforms. What are our focus in the reform agenda in the Ministry of Public Service? We strengthen the functional capacity of the government through trained skills for professional public service to practically implement Chapter 1 and on change of behavior in the conduct of public affairs, learning from relevant comparative and adjusting attitude of civil servants to meet the standard of good governance. So we focus mainly on good governance in our institution. We also focus on human resource policies, regulations, frameworks, and systems, and guide their implementation. So we have policies in place, we have guidelines, and then we focus and make sure that those guidelines, those regulations are implemented. We also promote compliance with the governance policies, regulation systems, and the standards. We initiate and implement programs that address public service employees' well-being. We also focus on human and institutional capacity development policies to determine best human capacity. Underline that best human capacity. Developing appropriate organizational structures all over the institution by developing appropriate organizational structures and key performance indicators. We also improve legal framework on pension funds and public insurance scheme to ensure they provide adequate, affordable, equitable, and sustainable benefits and promote employee social insurance. We increase awareness and understanding about the ministry and its activities. So many of us, the leaders, and the competence-based selection and the recruitment of public service employees. Achievement so far in the ministry is in the country, driven by aims, values, and principles of public service and human resource development. It is a pivotal tool for the training of public service employees, and we are going to enroll it soon. We have developed our strategic plan 2021 to 2025 for the Ministry of Public Service and Human Resource Development, and it will be rolled out as soon as possible. After presenting to the council, you are interested to know about the scenarios of salary structures in the country. We have already developed 4, and the implementation is what we are waiting. We have instituted and reactivated Under Secretaries Forum, where they discuss a lot of issues. It is a platform for networking to know how they can cooperate among themselves as undersecretaries, sharing experiences, because there are some new undersecretaries and there are some old undersecretaries. When they meet together, they share experiences. They lay out foundation for implementation of the revitalized peace agreement. Those senior undersecretaries should gear their attention and focus towards implementing the revitalized peace agreement. It also creates dialogue among the undersecretaries to discuss their own affairs. We have developed a stakeholders engagement strategy focusing on the need of civil servants in the terms of capacity building and conducting institutional reform and field. We have reviewed the Civil Service Regulations 2017. That is focusing on the structures of the ministries, recruitment and promotions within the ministries, how they enter, how civil servants are recruited, how they exit, and how they stay. We have established the structures, the schemes of services, unified job description, and we are dealing with the nominal roles. In the country, and also post classifications and grading. Reviewing scheme of service for career. We are working on the methodology for workload analysis and job evaluation. Civil servants must be evaluated to know whether they are effective or not. Challenges that the ministry is facing: lack of accurate head counts. How many civil servants are there? How many are we paying? How many are ghost names? How many are dead but still on the payroll? How many are paid without positions? So these are some of the challenges we are dealing with gradually. Current payroll practice largely is the list of names recorded on the payroll and ad hoc spreadsheets, which makes identification of staff very difficult. So there are many challenges in that, especially between us and the Ministry of Finance. We have a lot of challenges that we are dealing with. Who are you paying? Are we paying the right people or not? Many people on the payroll are not productive. Some are staying in the houses and then they just come and they get the pay. So this is also a big challenge. And to deal with that, it needs time and efforts and planning. We are going to institute a new generational of payroll system to stop and curtail all these challenges, or some of the challenges. The payroll reform to provide a more sustainable and effective pay system in place with the high levels of assurance on human resource, who ought to be paid and who is not supposed to be paid. So soon we shall have the system in place, but our challenge will be now confrontation with individuals. Distinguishing who is working for the government. We need to know who is working for the government and who is not. Not everybody is working for the government. So we need to streamline that. This will help to free up the resources needed to pay the minimal remunerations for public servants to work. That are related to career paths and experiences, motivating progressions and building capacity of the civil service. A comprehensive, accurate payroll can enable improved forms of public protection that can provide a measure of safety net, including for those who no longer pay. We have a big challenge about recruitment. Recruitment refers to the process of attracting, screening, selecting, and integrating a qualified person for a job within an organization, within your ministry, within your state, within your administrative area. Finding and hiring the best. Underline this word. Hiring the best of the best candidate from within or outside the organization of the post in the respective nominal roles. Recruitment for senior positions are to be done internally. Internally. Recruitment for senior positions be done internally, not externally. Then recruit him in grade 5. How did he come to grade 5? Otherwise, every new recruitment must begin with grade 9. So this is happening also among different institutions. Recruitment for senior years. Recruitment for senior positions are to be done within. Recruitment and promotion shall be on merit base, on fair and open competition. And this is the challenge public service is facing and the states are facing. No fair recruitment, no open competition, and they use shortcut. Shortcut is illegal. And if you want to legalize it, go back to fair competition for recruitment. There are South Sudanese above 18 years old. Of course, a young man asked me, why is there no minister in the national ministry in the government of South Sudan who is under 18? I wonder which minister will be under 18 as a national minister. These are challenges also from the youth. Have no criminal record. He came yesterday from prison and he was a thief and so on. He just recruit. But this is also render the public service null and void. Have acquired a labor card from the appropriate labor office. Have not and the law. Staff classification. Classify the staffs from grade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no 6, no 11, 12, no 13, and 14. You have the document with you. Some of us do not know. Even I didn't know. I know it when I became a minister. So the time you become a minister, you must study to know this. The minister of public service is further divided into 2 or into 3 or 4. Super scale, grade 1, 2, 3, and 4. Promotional scale, 5. Junior scale, 7, 8, and 9. Entry scale, entry into civil service is grade 9. So can you fix that as a point to begin civil service work? You don't recruit any junior or fresh graduate into grade 4, 5, 1, and so on. That is illegal. Otherwise, there are people in grade 9 up to grade 1. If you want to recruit anybody, look among those existing in those grades and promote. But if you bring somebody from outside, then there's the entry scale 9, undergraduate, degree or 2 to 3 years of diploma. Secondary school, 1 year diploma. Unclassified staff. Unclassified staff, grade 11, 13, 15. 16, and 17. This document will help you in your institution when you go back. Basis of promotion be done, and we listen to this very carefully. Shall not, a civil servant shall not be promoted beyond the next higher grade from his or her current grade. If you are a civil servant is grade 5, from grade 5 to grade 4, from grade 4 to grade 3. That is the rule. But of course, some of us, we bypass it. Even when I was a governor, I also bypass it. But this time, I'm informing you, don't bypass it. Ministry of Public Service and Human Resource Development shall inform the existence and continuity of that post in the respective nominal role. Be on merit based on a fair, open, competition. People should promote competition to hire the best of the best. That is healthy for the country. If we need South Sudan to move formation, so that higher grade, we have to form a committee for that promotion. See, served satisfactorily in the current grade for at least 3 years and above. To promote somebody from a civil servant from one grade to another, that's any year above. You cannot promote anybody. Yesterday you recruited to grade 3, today grade 2. The difference is even not 1 year. That is illegal. According to, but to any other law, it may be legal. But according to public service regulation, it is illegal. Appointed of the new board of directors and managing, okay, we are coming to pension. The board is existing to operationalize the pension. Majority of the states are not paying pension fund, and this is our concern. Some states are paying, some states are not paying. And probably we may come up with a resolution from the council to advise all the governors and the ministers and whoever is at that level to be questioned about pension, because pension is not personal property. That is public money contributed by monthly reporting system. So we are trying to work on pension scheme to see how it must be accountable to the beneficiaries of pension. So my advice to the state governors and administrative areas and other institutions is to take care of pension fund. Seriously, take care and remit it where it is needed. The managing director of pension fund is within the room. If there is a question, he will answer. So you have the Civil Service Act with you. Please read it very well and then know what to do. The last message is the future of South Sudan. It starts now, not tomorrow. Some of us are waiting that we don't like reform now. We are waiting, reform will come tomorrow. Reforms begin with you, begin with me, and it must begin in a small way, one by one. Until we reach the bigger picture. We shall found ourselves, we shall found South Sudan. Be fair in everything you do. Be honest. May God bless you. Thank you. Labor who is related could present, and so that we are given the questions that want. Yeah.
They will be answered later from the national. Will answer the level. Come and support your colleague.
Your Excellency, first Vice President, Dr. Yema Shatai, Your Excellency, Sen Abdelbagi, Vice President, my colleague, national ministers, honorable governors, honorable ministers of state, and all the participants. And good morning. I don't know whether it's still morning or
Still moving.
good morning.
Yes. 6 minutes.
I want to thank and advance my colleague, Fogasel. We are actually two sides of the same coin with him. So if you see that side, then labor is the other side. What I will be doing here is to give you some of slides we have prepared. My area is not big like the one of public service because we are dealing with private sector. And private sector, these are the typical dictators of the old ages. These are people who have really, they are property oriented. People who need money. And for them to have money, they must dictate the terms so that they don't lose their businesses. That's why I say it. I think it's very clear. It's not like the one of Fakasoro. The outline on my presentation will focus on background of the ministry. You have to know. Then the core function of the ministry. And then our current activities. And then I think you have the document, is it? Did you receive this document?
Yeah, it's on the screen.
Okay.
It's coming. It is on the screen.
Background. As part of the implementation on the resolution, the Ministry of Labor was separated from the Ministry of Public Service and Human Resource Development in 2020 with the aim to promote employment opportunities in the local economy. Mandate vision of the Ministry of Labor. Mandate: we establish an inclusive, impartial, responsive, and efficient regulate the operation of the private sector private sector labor market in a manner consistent with national priorities, values, cost-effective service guidance, regulatory framework for effective labor administration, skill development, and occupational safety and health. Our core functions, actually, we don't want to bother you sitting. We have actually 40 core functions. 40, but I give you only 3. I think we will give you the, we are working on our strategic plan. We will have it. We have 40. But I just selected things who are relevant to you. Is regulate the employment of aliens and approve the issuance of work permits. 2, regulate freedom of movement of for aliens, provide support and guidance to state labor offices to enable them effectively execute their roles and functions. Underline the world support to the state. Oversee and enforce the implementation of regulatory framework and promote tripartite manner of work on social dialogue, collective bargaining, decent work programming. So we believe in social dialogue. We don't give orders. We believe that let us dialogue and let us make compromise. That's why we don't advise always for people to go to court. Advise government on foreign policy on labor-related matters, including tax exemptions and attractive packages for promotion of businesses and employment opportunities. Establish and oversee the operation of vocational training centers nationwide. So labor prepare actually the calendar of the year and declare the holidays. I know sometimes we send a circular to the state and some incidences say they go and also issue their own holiday there, which is not. Whatever we send from here is national and people need to abide. I think we have act with you here. This is a very important document. For our work, and please you find time, the governors, you find time to read on this because it will help you very much, because whatever you will decide, also we took them through NGOs Act, and then our RC Act and the recruitment guideline. We dialogue with them, they ask questions, and then we answer. But it is very important that you read this document. So as part of implementation, we said as instruction in the private and public sector. The Act talk about this very seriously. And our connection with the public sector, you will get it in occupational safety and health. We are very much connected and on that. To advise the ministry. And then we are going to have also a commissioner office in the state, and then some offices in the state where we are actually working to establish them now, so that we have a very laying basis for implementation. The implementers are actually state, where the bulk of our people are. Conduct of labor market assessment in the private sector. It is very crucial. Now we don't know, actually we are talking exactly the percentage of unemployment. We don't have data, but we have already we are doing this now. We are taking data, and then when it finishes, we will make it public, and then you will know exactly who is working and who is not working and the level of unemployment in the country. We have issued a work permit. The responsibility of the national government, technically under the Ministry of Labor. Now, those who have designed these policies, people are not looking for money, collecting fees from them. No, it is a matter of security. You are dealing with foreigners in the country. Dealing with foreigners, sometimes because you are dealing with foreigners. We don't give work permit to our nationals, it's only foreigners. And to be very specific, we are dealing, we give work permit to companies. We don't deal with the informal sector, the traders. Those who come for 2 days, crossing border, we don't give them work permit. It is actually work of responsibility of the National Revenue Authority. As a ministry, we don't collect. We regulate and we don't collect. It is the Revenue Authority that collect that money. We don't even see that money. So the money is with Revenue Authority, and find a way of getting it from the center. It is not from us. South Sudan is actually digitalized the work permit. So you have to apply from your country there before you come, and then you have to be given the approval. But now we are giving work permit when you are here in South Sudan. Work permit, and we want you the state. Actually, the last bullet here is state government are advised to inform aliens who have no work permit to utilize the e-government services service to apply for the work permit online. What we are trying to say, the Minister of Labor in the state, they have to continue inspecting actually the aliens, the foreigners who are working, whether they have work permit or not. If they don't, and then you have to advise them to get the work permit. Otherwise, there's penalties. You can arrest somebody staying in this country working without a permit. So it is actually the work of labor inspector in the state to inspect from time to time those who are working there. As I said, we don't deal with the informal sector. The traders, it is the work of mayor. The state have to take care of that. So we have here, we have provided you with the work permit e-service. So if you have somebody there, they can apply online using this link. Our activities in the ministry, development of the legal framework. When I came to the ministry, the only document that we have is this document. But these documents have to be really interpreted into regulation and policies. Now we are working, developing policies. One of them is a strategic plan 2021-2025, the ministry. Recently in October, we called all the ministers of labor of the state and 3 areas. They came and we took them through the document. It will be finalized very soon, and they put their input. This is a document we are working on it, our 5 years plan. Number 2, regulatory framework for the Labor Act 2017. We have actually offices that we are supposed to establish under this act. And very soon we'll come to the state, and then we will help the ministry there to establish those offices. And then we have occupational safety and health policy, which is really very important. Now, it is our work, it is our mandate as a ministry to make sure that our workers from the president up to the last, they are working a very secure environment. Up to now, we don't have those policies. We are developing them. Our focus is human being. We have to make sure that our people are protected. We are developing, and we were already started developing them. It will take us maybe 9 to 10 months to develop all these documents. We call them Department of Occupational Safety and Health there in the slide. We will develop manufacturing safety guidelines. We may have manufacturing companies here who will come to us. We have to regulate their work. Storage guidelines, because the environment where they work, we must make sure that those who will go and eat there in those hotels are also that safe, and even those who are working there. Transport safety guidelines, fishing guidelines. This is category number 2. And category number 3, agricultural health guidelines. And then the last category, number 5, is the timber logging safety guidelines. small and medium enterprises guidelines, incident occurrence management guidelines. These are things that we are going to develop after 9 months or 10 months. They will be ready and don't have enough money. We are working actually to make minimal wage. We will put the minimal where you will not go down, but you can go according to, if you want to attract quality of the work, and then you can increase, but it will be a minimal. We are working, it is actually a national endeavor. Vocational training and skill development policies, we are doing it. We are working on our vocational training center policies. And then employment regulatory regulation policies. Recruitment guidelines, we have, this is a small book. And the one of the government and use. We developed this one in 2019 together with the NGOs. And it is very important that comrades or colleagues, we need really to implement this small book, because private sector should be given to the national at low level of the management. It's very clear in the act, 80%. But in this 80%, I think has not go down to our people correctly. National, word national. It is localized by some people. If the NGO is working in Wulang County, my county, my understanding is that national is only people from Wulang. And we don't need people from Nasser or from anywhere, which is really wrong. Because these are technical things. And it is very important for you, the governors, to take note of this. Our more problem is in this area. Now, if you need nurses, nurses is a technical work. It's not a common sense. You cannot go and bring somebody from the village there to come and work as a nurse. So you need to bring somebody from anywhere. If the area where the NGO is working, if they have people who have qualification of nursing, and then they have the priority. Of course, the language is important to us. But if you don't have a nurse in Torit, and then we have to bring somebody from Raja, from Rang, from anywhere to go and work there as a nurse, because it is a technical work. So our people, they don't want people from anywhere. Yes, we had problem in Torit. Those of Torit, they don't want people from anywhere. Within the state, leave alone outside of the state. Within the state, they don't want people from Magwe, they don't want people from Kapueta, they don't want people from anywhere, which is not true. The same thing happened in Rang, in Malud, in Bentiu, and recently in Peipu. So you need to tell them, because these are people who are giving services to their own people. Now we have job assignment should be approved by the Minister of Labor, followed by a fair and transparent process, shortlisting, interviewing, and then they have to report back when they finish from the selected people. And then they have to report back that we have selected these people. And the Ministry there of Labor have to see the process, whether they follow the exact processes of the recruitment or not. And then this is one important. It is one of our problems with the state ministers. They say they should have somebody who will be in the recruitment board. But because we are dealing with transparency, we say no. We are the regulatory. We monitor them, and we of that process. We say no. Let them do it, but we have to analyze and see whether they're following the right procedure or not. So we have this small book. I think you have it. We send a number of copies to the state, but it is very important. Let us use this one. Now we have about 4 categories where you don't bring from anywhere. You have the drivers. You don't need to bring drivers from anywhere. You have to recruit drivers locally. You have the security. You have to also get locally. You have the cleaners. You have to get them locally. And you have the community mobilization. These are 4 categories that you really need to recruit locally. I'm coming to vocational training center if you don't have drivers. The vocational training centers are training drivers. And it is one of your responsibility to train, to make sure that you have drivers there. So these 4 locally. Okay, locally. So, and it is very, very important that we really need to implement this. And then number 5 is coordination and collaboration with the state government. As I said, if you read all the 40 function of us, it's talking of supporting. We don't have a direct command. We command you, no, we regulate, we give you, and you implement. We support you. So the bulk of work is actually from the state, but we have to provide. Now let me come to the last section is vocational training centers. We have about 7 government national vocational training centers, and we have about 3 or 4. In 2016, the public vocational training centers, Malakal, Wow, and Juba, under the Ministry of Labor, train over almost 8,000. We train in different trade. I will, Juba and Rambe. Many NGOs in partnership with the government and private ETC are engaged also in skill training. This is positive progress in an effort to empower, and if we deploy the directors from the center here. But I want to tell you that the whole operationalization of those training centers lie with the state, because now they said you have to assess your market. What is needed in your market there? You need to train in carpentry. So the market is yours. The program of those training centers is yours. You have to make sure that you have the quality of people trained in those training centers. It is not we to decide, because we have to see your market. What is needed and what no. It is you. And you have to make sure that you engage your youth by training them. It will reduce even some of our this insecurity in the area, because if they are working, at least they will protect. Now we have mechanics, basic automotive machine mechanics, diesel petrol engines, water pump, repair and maintenance. Generator mechanic, we also repair generators. We train people to repair generators, auto electrical, electronics, motorcycle mechanics. This is what we are training. This is one of the trades that we are doing in all these vocational training centers. And then we have carpentry, joinery, work, wood work, and woodwork. What we do, basic carpentry and joinery, food dryer, and we have the school and office furnitures. We are doing it also, and we want to tell you that if you want shares and whatever in your estate, you tell us, we will prepare them. You will pay something small. We can do as centers. And then we are doing also welding and metal fabrications, basic welding and fabrications. We are doing it. And then building and construction, basic masonry and brick making, tiling and painting. So we do also, we train people. And this one is very important for business to come. The business people, when they come, the first thing they ask whether the manpower is there or whatever you call manpower. Of course, we mean is not. We don't mean men. Manpower is actually everybody. But we have to make sure that you have people who can make electrical, people who can fit pipe. So we are doing that, and then plumbing and pipe fitting. Plumbing and pipe fitting, irrigation and pipe fitting. We are doing also tailoring, dress making, and embroidery. We are doing also electricity and solar, basic electricity, electrical installations. We are doing solar system installations and maintenance, cooling system installation and maintenance. These are things we are doing also. It is very important because our country is very hot. Who can refer those? And then information, communication, and technology. Basic computer applications, computer hardware, and CCTV. We are doing also in our centers. And then in the hospitality, I think you can get yogurt actually. Our yogurt you can do it already. We are doing one as now in the Robe, and I think very soon also we will roll out to go. We have so cows, we have milk, then we can do this. We are going to promote them actually to beauty therapy, barber shops, hairdressing, beauty and body therapy. Of course, this is what we lack, and actually they say they are getting a lot of money because there is no, the ladies every week they have to go to salon and 2 weeks. And what they do, they say now for me, I have now black, not because I'm young. They go and beautify me there. They dye my hair. They cut. They work on my nail. It is 15,000. This is my salary is 10,000. My salary of 1 month, they get it only in 30 minutes. So if you do 4 people, then you have money, and they say we are getting a lot of money out of this. With ladies, it's actually 20-something thousand. Ladies are very expensive more than men. They have so many things. So it is really very important, and they think that it is a good job for them. Instead, you go and work in offices where you don't. Get money. And then we agriculture, farm machinery and irrigation. These are things that we are doing. And also we are introducing, we want to produce our welders. We are working actually we have hidden skill. We want to introduce also making this bag, ladies bag, jacket, shoes. And we are working on it to make sure that we have food processing. In conclusion, in regard to the above, the ministry look forward to work in collaboration with the state government in fulfillment of its mandate. And the ministry encourage the state government to play key the institutional asset for better service delivery to the nation. What we mean here, we are opening this vocational center in the area. Areas, their security is your responsibility. You have to make sure that they are secure because we will be providing machines. I don't let the please allocate a land for us because we want to develop actually. We need a land, is not necessarily in the center, anywhere outside of the center. $10 kilo, 15
Thank you very
and
much.
thank you for listening.
The questions will prepare your questions. Go away with my question. How cooperative is the private sector of the ministry? How does the private sector, are they cooperating with you, the private sector? Work. You answer it later. A chance for you to come back. Now, we move to Warabi State. Present. The Minister of Local Government and
First Vice President of the Republic of South Sudan, Bagaya Yi, Vice President, National Ministers, advisors, our state top leaders, honorable governors at their virus capacity, all the student and guest ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm honored and privileged to take you through the progress report of Arab State to foot off, and His Excellency Itoriang Machar, the first Vice President, for established peace and stability. Without peace and stability, we would have not attained this important forum. Congratulations and thank you very much for the wonderful initiative that you have taken. I am by name Peter Padwal Mangong, the Minister of Local Government and Law Enforcement Agents, Warab State. My colleague is Honorable Piol Boy Arias, the Minister of Peace Building, Warab State, and Honorable Baduntonga Kon, the Minister of Finance, then our Secretary General James Gabriel Kamis. We have also two media groups. One is Biardeng Malwal is here, and then Daniel Marangwek. This is the delegate. Warab State is going to present you the state profile, the missions, the activities, achievements, the plan activities, the way forward. Our state profile, Warab State is one of 10 states. Quite joke. In fact, you had Warab Town. We have Warab Town, but currently our headquarters is quite joke. We have decided to make a joke to be our headquarters of Warab State. I cannot explain that. Warab is state is inhabited by predominantly Dinka plus two other ethnic groups. With 5,000 density population per square kilometer is 22.92. Warab State is bordering, in fact, you can also read from there. Warab State is bordering Unity State, Ruruweng administrative area, Abia administrative area. Warab State is comprising of 17 advisors, 5 advisors, 17 state ministries, 6 state independent commissions, including municipality and state revenue authority. The state government has formed 3 classes: governance cluster, economic cluster, and services cluster. The state government develops the strategic development plans recently. Our broad objectives, namely peace and security, human resource and institutional development, economic infrastructure. The rest you will just go through. And in fact, this neighboring state that I've been talking about, in unity state, we are staying peacefully and we are really coordinating with them. Recently, we have received people from unity state to in Twitch County. They are now in a place called Bombil or Bomcat, and a place called Apatong. We are now staying peacefully because of the flood which affect that side. They have also migrated to our side. We have also some issues that have been reported, the issue of cattle rustling, cattle which is 200 cows that has been reported yesterday. We are still running after those criminals, and we must make sure that if this thing happens, the cows will be returned back to their owners, because we don't want such issues to be there again while we are now in a peaceful. Say thank you. And then coming to the summary of our workforce for Warab State, the state headquarters, institutions, workforce, constitutional force holders, and civil service servants is for political and socio-economic development. Mission attainment of total peace, equitable development, institutional, human resource development, adherent to rule of law, respect for human rights and dignity, capacity building, and encouragement of the private sector initiatives. Core values: effectiveness, efficiency, autonomy, professionalism, excellence, and hard working. Our key state priorities: peace and security, human resources and institutional development, economic infrastructure, and access to social and justice services. With the full integration of where I will emphasize more on what the key issues which I've just figure out. Security in the state has improved up to 70% since March 2021 up to date. A number of these conferences integrated identification of casaca, hides and skin, livestock marketing program, establishment of price control committee, this is for management of the prices across the state. Establishment of gum casaca for users associations, peaceful 105 agricultural and multipurpose cooperatives in Warab state. A total of 103 boreholes had been successfully drilled in 5 counties of Gogrial West with 15 boreholes under provision of clean water supply project. Gogrial is with 28 boreholes and communities and social amenities support project. Tony North with 32 borehole under White project. Educations, Dinworm eradication and food security improvement project. Tony East with 3 boreholes under nutrition and educational facilities centers project. Ongoing formation of Boma and Fayam development committees in all the 6 counties of Arab State. In Toin South County, the number of animals and poultry below were vaccinated and fitted. Vaccination of cattle reached 50,000 head of cattle, which were vaccinated at 139 animals being vaccinated and 50 plus 200 poultry were vaccinated against Newcastle disease. In Gogrialis County, 3,388 of cattle were vaccinated against Castle disease, and a refresher training of 50 agricultural inhibition inhibited, in which high-profile figures from the national government, international partners, and neighboring states attended from 17 November to 18 November 2021. Establishment of main crops and vegetable demonstration farms at 3 net school across the state are functional. Distribution of scholastic material to school, exercise books, children's kits, teachers' kits, recreational kits, sanitation kits, and bags in box. Except Tony's, which was faced by insecurity along the road. And conducted public awareness arising about COVID-19 pandemic across the counties of Arab State and school through radio talk show, as well as dissemination of COVID-19 protocol to teachers, head teachers, parents, and students. Back to learning campaign in counties has been launched. Distribution of reusable face masks to all 6 counties and school of Arab State and serve the children to all the 6 counties of Arab State. Achievement. Registration of candidates was done for primary 8 and senior 4 required by the National Ministry of General Education and Instruction, Juba. Despite of 2,911.51 metric tons of food to 224 target schools with 79,5 756 beneficiaries, children across Warab State under the school feeding program. The breakdown in the 6 counties as follow. I think you can just read Gogrial West, Gogrial East, Twitch, Toinos, Toin South, Toin East. And teachers' verification has been conducted successfully in September 2021. Collection of the school development plan from secondary school to identified activities which were planned for appropriate monitoring and evaluation. Now 68,000 COVID-19 face masks were distributed to the 6 counties as below: Gogrial West, Gogrial East, Twitch, Toinos, Toin South, Toin East, and the annual education census of 2021 for sampling of school in Warab State is underway. To count in the counties. 6 enumerators were identified and 3 team for oversight were also identified as a state official, county official, Payam education supervisor as well. Partners in the following counties: Payam is school in Warab State. That is Bolbol Primary School, Toinos, Pagol Payam, Adar Primary School of Gurial West, School, Gurial West County, then Metro Primary School of Gurial West County, then Mangartu Primary School of Gurial West County. These are all I think you can read. Then reopening of 979 2021 after COVID-19 lockdown and 75,666 girls, making overall total of 331,191 pupils with 1,400 whole number of 10,371 teachers. 1,677 candidates set for South Sudan secondary certificate exam for the academic year 2020 to 2021. Textbooks, COVID-19 preventive materials were distributed to school across the state. Achievement: Genes expert machines installed in Pajok State, Toin Civil Hospital, respectively, staff trained. COVID-19 round 1 and 2 conducted with a total of 9,825 people vaccinated.
boy young I give him that thing. Control like stay the Panchi America. Banyi door the banaban control like stay the Panchi America. Banyi door the banaban walk on the lake and carro water no watching. Oga level like gear power like Panda with ya Panchi America. Panya Dwalabano Chingatonga Pandon could you buy a check out. Papu Panda Juru ya Panchi America, Panji Dwala, Panapan Pancha